Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Mathieu van der Poel is an incredible rider on the road, translating his imperious cyclocross skills successfully. But of course, Mathieu van der Poel was never just a cyclocross rider, he always coupled his programs with riding on the road from a very early age. In 2013, he won the World Championships in the junior road race as well. Despite never riding for a World Tour team, Mathieu van der Poel has racked up plenty of big victories already on the road, like the Tour of Flanders and Strade Bianche. And sometimes his racing style on the road is very akin to that of cyclocross by treating the last hour as a cyclocross race of a road race by jetting off the front of the race. But in today's video, we're going to take a closer look and focus at the incredible ability that won him that Strade Bianche title with that imperious power sprint. And we're going to look at 5 other occasions when he did that. And we aren't going to include the Strade Bianche effort as I've already covered that in a different video. The first race we're going to look at was 4 days after finishing second at the European Championships in Glasgow when Mathieu van der Poel lined up at the Arctic Race of Norway. The first stage was 184 kilometers long and was from Vadsø to Kirkenes, and this stage finished up an uphill finish. We can see here as we come into the finishing run that there are 2 riders out in front, and Mathieu van der Poel has already put himself in a favorable position towards the front. When the chasing riders catch the 2 breakaway riders, there's a bit of a mess at the front as these 2 riders kind of block the other riders in effect. Van der Poel nearly comes a cropper when he's actually trapped in between the 2 breakaway riders, and he just about manages to nearly ram one of them into the side of the road. But Mathieu van der Poel recovers, and then here is where he actually starts to open up the throttle and go towards the end of the line. He even has enough time to look back at the other riders multiple times before he actually gets to the finishing line, and that must just be really upsetting for the riders behind him. The biggest enemy for Mathieu van der Poel on the day was probably his own celebration. Mathieu van der Poel finished first in front of a lot of good riders here. Guillaume Martin was also in there, and Alberto Bettiol was the BMC rider. Next race was the Brabantes Pijl in 2019. This is of course a very hilly and cobbled one-day race. Mathieu van der Poel was really eager to go in this race, and he attacked within 60 kilometers to go. And we can see the incredible power here that the Dutchman is showing as he's catching up to the 2 breakaway riders and actually close the 30-second gap within 1 kilometer of doing so. And the power here on show from Mathieu van der Poel as he just floats over to the other breakaway riders is just absolutely incredible. However, this move didn't end up being anything, so that meant Mathieu van der Poel was back in the bunch. With 4.3 kilometers to go, the Frenchman Julien Philippe putting a stinging attack, and that put Mathieu in trouble, and Mathieu van der Poel had to come around the Australian in order to pursue down the Frenchman. And Julien Philippe is of course a winner of Flèche Wallonne and one of the best punchers in the world, but Mathieu van der Poel was able to match the Frenchman pedal stroke for pedal stroke, and that meant that it would set up a very interesting finish at the line. Reluctantly, Mathieu van der Poel actually goes to the front of the race, and now he has Julien Philippe, Michael Matthews and Tim Wellens on his wheel. And the Dutchman looks back numerous times before they approach the finish, and the chasers are coming up fast behind them. Mathieu van der Poel opens up the sprint, and Michael Matthews and Julien Philippe try to grapple onto his wheel. Michael Matthews comes a cropper a bit there, but Julien Philippe is not able to match the Flying Dutchman, and the Dutchman takes the win in seemingly a very comfortable manner. 4 days later, Mathieu van der Poel had probably the most incredible day of his career at Amstel Gold. Mathieu van der Poel had independently taken this chasing group and closed the gap to the trio in front with Julien Philippe, Jakob Fuglsang and Mirko Kwiatkowski. And then in the final 200 meters, he opened up this incredible 1,186 watt sprint that left everyone behind him, and the Dutchman took a very improbable win and one of the most ecstatic finishes to a race that I've ever seen. In the 2019 season, Mathieu van der Poel had a phenomenal year, and he showed that even more in that year's Tour of Britain. It didn't take long for Mathieu van der Poel to make his mark in the race. On the 4th stage from Gateshead to Kendal, on the final finish, the 3 breakaway riders were looking nervous as they were coming to the finish, which had an uphill finish, and it looked like they might just stay away if they were able to. But the helicopter shot shows the incredible positioning and the incredible sprint of Mathieu van der Poel as he just hovers into the shot And here we can see Mathieu van der Poel, and then we see this imperious power that he puts out into the pedals as he just rides past the breakaway riders as if they're standing still, and all the other riders look like they're painted to the ground as Mathieu van der Poel, riding for Corndon Circus, actually manages to open up a clear gap between him and the other riders from the chasers. And it was such a big gap that he actually managed to put in 3 seconds of a lead in the GC as well. He went on to win stage 6 of that year's Tour of Britain as well, and the closest rider to him, Mathieu Trentin, even gave him a thumbs up as the Dutchman was going across the line. Mathieu van der Poel even demonstrated his imperious sprint ability by going 1-to-1 with Cesc Bol as well, taking the flat finish into the finale in Manchester and took the overall GC win. In the 2021 season, Mathieu van der Poel turned up there at the UAE Tour, and this stage was marred by crosswinds, and Mathieu van der Poel was in the front group that had caused the breakaway, instigated by De Koning Quickstep and Trek Segafredo with UAE, and there were a lot of big names in this group, including sprinters such as Fernando Gaviria and Elia Viviani. So coming into the finish, it seemed like this would be one for Gaviria and Elia Viviani to do battle on, but at the finishing straight, Elia Viviani and Mathieu van der Poel plus David Dekker, the neo-pro, opened up the sprint, and Mathieu van der Poel won the drag race to the finish with his incredible sprint power. From the overhead shot, we can actually see Mathieu van der Poel is positioned behind the De Koning Quickstep riders, and there we can just about see Elia Viviani moving up. Mathieu van der Poel is quick to get onto Elia Viviani's wheel, and Mathieu van der Poel just sits there with David Dekker on his wheel and another De Koning Quickstep rider just being pushed off his wheel. He opens his sprint about the same time as Elia Viviani, but there you can see he's able to outmuscle the Italian with his imperious sprint. And this just shows how incredible Mathieu van der Poel's power, that he can actually rival pure sprinters. But of course, I do have to say the caveat here is that this came after a very hard stage with crosswinds, so that might have taken some of the energy out of Elia Viviani. Fernando Gaviria, who didn't even challenge in the end, he finished 13th last in the group, and David Dekker was his closest match. But Elia Viviani clearly was outpowered by Mathieu van der Poel. Mathieu van der Poel's sprint is absolutely amazing. He has shown that he can win against pure sprinters on a normal day, as he did in the Tour of Britain. He has shown that he can win against pure sprinters after a crosswind, and he's also shown that he can outkick the best punchers in the world, as he did in Strade Bianche. And of course, the most impressive sprint was in the Amstel Gold, after all those hills throughout that classic, managing to have power equivalent to that of sprinters. That's basically it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and make sure to let me know which is your favorite example of his imperious sprint. And as always, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel to make sure to stay up to date with all our videos. And as always, thank you for watching and have a nice day.